Joel, thanks for joining me again. We had covered a story here just a couple of days ago about a woman in Nigeria, a college student named Deborah Yakubu. And I want to dive into updates on this story. Just to recap for people, this was really a horrific story of a young woman who was stoned to death, her body then burned by a Muslim mob. What can you tell us, Joel? We sort of left the story with the details of what we had heard about this incident on May 12th. What are some of the new developments?
Well, about an hour after we ended the call on Friday, Billy, Nigeria's president made his first public comments about the case. And I shouldn't have been shocked, but I was truly shocked. He did not call for the perpetrators to be punished. He did not promise justice for the killing. He said, Muslims all over the world, I'm quoting here, Muslims all over the world demand respect for the holy prophets. And where transgressions occur, the law does not allow anyone to take matters into their hands. The constituted authority must be allowed to deal with such matters when they arise. So, decoding this a little bit, the state where Deborah lived has Sharia law, which is in violation of the Nigerian constitution, but they have it anyway. And under Sharia law, Deborah could have been tried and executed for blasphemy if she was found guilty. So essentially the president is saying it's not bad that she was killed, it's bad that she was killed by a mob, which is truly shocking when you think about it. A few days later, 2 people were arrested in connection with her murder. The videos of her murder show dozens of people participating, many with their faces are fully visible, but 2 men were arrested. They were not charged with murder. They were charged with inciting a public disturbance, which carries a fine. So wow. we're already seeing where this is heading. Likely there's going to be no justice in this case.
And so people understand there were a number of allegations that were floating around of what it was that she allegedly did. First of all, obviously, every sane human being knows that there's nothing in the world that you could say that would justify what had happened to her. But the claim was that maybe in WhatsApp she had questioned religion in some way. She had made a comment about her faith, or maybe asking people to stop discussing religion. Another allegation was that perhaps there was a Muslim man she had turned down, and as a result of that, there were false allegations that she had insulted Islam or the Prophet Muhammad. Do we have any clarity on what it was that she is actually, what they're claiming was the basis for this attack?
Yeah, it's pretty clear now what happened. She was in a WhatsApp group that was dedicated to studies at her school, to tests and assignments and keeping track of deadlines and such. And someone asked her in this group how she got such a good score on a test. And she replied, Jesus. And several other Muslim students replied very angrily to this. And then she left a voice message to the group that I'll paraphrase here. It said, the Holy Spirit will protect me. I'm not afraid of you. This group is for assignments, for deadlines, and for tests, not for religious nonsense.
And so sharing her faith is what sparked the anger, and then defending herself as any other person. I'm here in America. We would be able to defend our faith. You would not, in any rational realm, assume that you would face a stoning or be murdered over that.
Yeah, and it's very telling, actually, that it was her defending herself that set it off, because it has the shades of, Christians are a small minority in this part of Nigeria. And there's a long tradition in this part of Nigeria of Christians having to be subservient to the Muslim elites, right? So you can almost see this as a young Christian woman is stepping out of her place, right? She's stepping out of line. She's speaking like an equal when she should be subservient. And so she has to be killed for that. That's how it needs to be.
Have we heard anything from her family or loved ones after this happened? I hadn't seen initially reactions from them, but has there been anything public from her family?
Yeah, there's been a few interviews with her parents. Her mother is obviously devastated. The thing that sticks out most to me from her interview is she said, I have 7 other children. I'm not sending any of them to school. It's like this was her oldest daughter. She put everything she had into this daughter, sent her to school, paid for it. had all these hopes for her future, for her education, and now it's just ruined. And often what you'll hear in discourse about this kind of extremist violence is, oh, it's a problem of education, right? If people were only educated, they wouldn't do such horrible things. And I think it's very instructive that this happened at a college of education. Education is obviously a good thing when it's done correctly, but the problem here is not that people are ignorant or oppressed or poor. It's that there's this ideology of Muslim supremacism in Nigeria that is just, it's killing people.
Well, and you spoke about the president's comments and the fear that there won't be any real justice in this case. Last time we spoke, you said a number of really interesting things about Nigeria for those who don't realize. Obviously, the population, at least half of the population, is Christian. This is a major, place where Christianity is on the rise. And yet at the same time, in the northern portion of the country, I think you said there were 12 states there where extremism and where Sharia law and these other elements are at play. That is a very complicated dynamic. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong on any of that, but when you look at that and you look at that full picture, it's sort of shocking. And you also said, this is a place where Christianity is growing at the same time the devil is operating at such a horrific rate as we see in this story here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the story of the church in the 21st century. I think Africa will be the church's growing place in the 21st century if God wills it. And so it's not surprising to see this intense level of conflict over Christianity in this place. I wanted to add one more thing, Billy.
Sure.
What's so discouraging about seeing all these statements from Nigeria's president and also Nigeria's chief imam, who actually defended the murder, and the governor of the state who failed to condemn it, is that the U.S. has a pretty large infrastructure dedicated to religious freedom, right? We have an ambassador for religious freedom. We have a division of the State Department dedicated to religious freedom. I haven't heard anything from any of them about this yet. It's been 6 days since Deborah was lynched publicly, video placed online. And so if her own government is not going to take this seriously, and our government is not going to take this seriously, I'm really pessimistic about the chances for anything changing for the better in Nigeria.
If you had the U.S. Secretary of State in front of you, or you had President Joe Biden in front of you, in light of what you just said, what would you say to them about the importance of reacting in this instance?
I would say Nigerians look up to the United States. Nigerians take the United States as a model. It embodies a lot of their hopes for their own lives, for their own country. And you have something to say here. You can make a difference here. This is an inflection point for Nigeria. If this murder that happened so publicly and has become such a topic of conversation, a national conversation in Nigeria, if this just goes unpunished, that tells everyone in Nigeria what their future is. And you have a chance to intervene, to make a difference, to make it clear to Nigeria's president, to Nigeria's foreign minister, to your counterparts in the Nigerian government. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable for an ally of the United States to behave this way when people are being killed in your streets.
Joel, I so appreciate you coming on today to give us an update on this. We will have you back to speak more on this. It is an incredibly important, tragic, but important story. Thanks again for your time today.
Thank you so much, Billy.